What's happening, and welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about a powerful life principle that anyone can use. And there's a difference between this principle and another principle. I'm going to share those both with you. And I'm going to use a story, or really, yeah, a story from back when I was playing college basketball to help us demonstrate what this life principle is. So when we're talking about living life and we're talking about being successful, because look, if we're going to account for our life, then we want to know how to be successful. And today we're going to just unpack this principle that it's going to bring more awareness because everyone's familiar with it. Everyone understands it. And so today, let's jump into it. So I was sitting here thinking about life and success and doing the right thing and becoming the person I know I was created to be. And I'm talking to God and I'm asking God, well, what's going on? Like where we at? Like the destination, when we gonna get there? He's like, and I heard him say a word. He says practice. He says practice. I was like, practice. And then, a whole host of things just kind of come up. I think about Allen Iverson. You remember the story of Allen Iverson in the media there, that I guess they're getting on him about practice. And he says, we talking about practice. Now, in his defense, the man practiced. Why? How could he put up the numbers that he put up without practicing? So I don't know why they would even try and question his practice regimen, because you can't do what he did unless you practiced. So as I listen to God, and just kind of let that sit in, then I was reminded also. I'm reading the book. I'm almost finished. It's called The Enemy. Was it the Necessity of the Enemy, and it's written by a pastor. His name is Rob Carpenter. And in his book, there's a little short chapter, because this is made up of a lot of short chapters. And so the short chapter is the law of the environment. And in the law of the environment, he gives a story about a fishing trip that he and his buddies went on, and they were super excited. They, they caught a shark that day. And in catching this shark, they're like, man, this is awesome. I can't remember how big the shark was, but they pull the shark out and they get the shark back to where they were going. And what he realized, he says, wait a second. The shark didn't seem as, sharky or scary outside of the water. See, because when we go into the water and then we see a shark, we're in the shark's environment. So the shark has full reign over us. But when the shark comes out of the water and now in our environment, the shark has nothing. Actually, the shark is just going to die because it's out of its environment. So if we're talking about practice, we got to make sure we're practicing in the right environments. And so what does that mean? What does that mean for us this week in practicing in the right environments? Well, first we have to know what to practice. Come on. What should I be practicing? See, a lot of times we're practicing the wrong things. If I'm wanting to be like if you want to be successful at something, I was talking to my son and his girlfriend yesterday, and we just kicking it. And what's interesting is like they're both, finishing the third year of college, and they're getting to the end, and they're starting to see. They're like, and my son's just like, man, well, no, I think Sarai said this. She says, well, man, maybe we could. What if I just did trade? Like if I go into trade school, then it's almost like you get right to it. He says, but it seems like we're not doing anything. It seems like we're in college, and it's just like just taking all these classes. I just kind of had to sigh. I'm just like, wow, you're not practicing anything. See, my son Jacob, he's in culinary school, where they've made it so that it's like a university, but he's in culinary school. What do they do all day? What do they do most days? They are cooking stuff. They are practicing literally every day, preparing for what they said they wanted. See, we're talking about life, and we're talking about getting better, and we're talking about doing the stuff we want to do. then we got to say, well, what should I be practicing on a daily basis? See, when the Holy Spirit reminded me of this word, practice, like if we're going to get to our destiny, there has to be a lot of practice. And here's the thing about practice. Did you know that practice doesn't end? So I said I wanted to talk about my days of playing college basketball, you know. And in playing college basketball, I played when I played high school basketball, it was kind of fake. It wasn't real. So I didn't what's interesting is that we didn't, like me and my brother, we didn't go the normal road of playing basketball. We went to a small Christian school in high school, which we had a basketball team. It's just that we didn't really get to play anybody. A lot of players were good. I think we played one high school. We played one local high school. Now they since now played regular high schools, but we didn't play any high schools. We played in a church league. Think about this. But we played against men. We were in high school. We were playing in a men's church league, which was just kind of wild, right? But they said, oh, well, because, it's like, well, it was, issues with this or that. And so we didn't get a chance. But here's the thing. One thing we did, guys, is we practice all the time. How do we practice? Well, we practice outside of just practicing with the team. We was always playing. Anytime we got an opportunity to practice, and I'm using that word loosely because practice in those days was playing. We just went to the gym and played. So the difference between playing and practice is that playing, you just play like you're doing everything, but practice is very specific. I'm going to say it again. Playing, when you play the game, you are literally just playing and you're testing out everything. But when you're practicing is very specific. It's, hey, I'm practicing layups. Hey, we're practicing defense. Hey, we're practicing plays. Hey, I'm practicing free throws. I'm practicing 3-pointers. I'm practicing off the dribble moves. I'm practicing actually dribbling and dribble handling. And I'm practicing how I stand on defense. Like, there's so many things you have to do when you practice. But practice is that place where you get used to what you're going to do in the game when you're playing it. See, a lot of times we want to jump right into the game. We want to get in the game and we're going to start playing. Now, here's the thing. Yeah, we can get in the game and start playing it. And that's okay. We then have to come back and realize that, okay, let me go look at game tape. Let me go look at, well, what did I do in that game? I have to get better at that. I have to get better at looking at game tape. So when I look at the game tape, that says, oh, look at my defense. Oh, my defense was terrible. Dang, my form was off. Oh my goodness. Look at how bad I'm shooting. Or look at how my body language on the court. I'm not playing, or look at how well I played. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be able to look at the game tape. So you play the game, but you also practice. And one thing, my son and my son's girlfriend was talking about is just, man, like it just seems like, they're, with being in college, it just seems like they don't know what they're working on. And I said, you're right. Like, I remember I wasn't, like, when I went to college, we just took classes. You got a 4, 5, 6 classes every quarter or every semester. You take the classes and you're one step closer to getting a piece of paper. So in college, what we are working on is the ability to get a piece of paper. We're not actually working on doing the thing yet. So we got to understand what environment we're in, and then what are we actually doing in that environment. So if I'm in school, then I know the goal of that game is to get me a piece of paper. Now, if I'm in life, this is where we want to live. If I'm in life, what is the goal? What is the objective if I'm playing the game of life? This is where we're going to unpack, and then we're going to get out of here. So the goal of life is what? All right. You may want to have a relationship. You may want to you may want to get married at some point. You may want to have kids. You may want to have a very successful career or business or whatever that is. You may want to be successful in your health. You may say, you know what? I want to be successful in my career, but I want to be able to have a lot of money. I want to be able to go and come as I please. I want to be able to do what I want to do. So if we're going to be successful in life, then we got to actually say, well, what should I be practicing in those areas so that I can be successful? All right. That's multifaceted. And here's the thing. The way that I like to work with, well, you know what? I like to do things that will help me in all areas. I think that's why I like this whole concept of account for your life, because if I account for my life, I can use the principles that I learned in the fact that I'm working on my life in business and in all the other in relationships and all the other things that I'm doing. Still, learning a lot. And I'm not going to say but we're going to say and then in some cases you just have to know, okay, if I'm in business, there's specific things I just got to know, the specific things I have to practice. So if we develop and say, okay, I want to be successful with my health, what do we got to practice? I got to practice eating right. I have to practice exercising. I have to practice, let me just give you three. I have to practice eating right, have to practice exercising, I have to practice keeping my mind right. Actually, your mind is needed in every area. And I'll give you a bonus one here. I got to get sleep. So I got to eat right. I got to exercise. I got to keep my mind right. And I got to get sleep. Those are four things we got to practice to keep our physical health going well. And that spills into our mental health as well. So now we're talking about, okay, what else can I be working on? I want to work on my money. So this is where most people spend most of the time. So I'm not going to talk about anything else. We're just going to talk about this one right here, and money, because everybody spends at least 8 to 12 hours a day on money. And I say 8 to 12 because there's a commute. So we got to get there, we got to get home, plus we got to work. So a lot is around 8 to 12 hours. So that's nearly, if it's 12, that's half of the day. So that means that's one thing that gets most of our time. That means that's really important. And what that means is I should probably have some good practice skills around that. So what's my objective? So this is where we get clear. What is my objective? Well, if your objective is that you would like to have, everybody wants to have. I start with what you want to have. What do I want to have? And then I gotta say, well, who do I need to be? And then what do I need to do? So what do I want to have? Who do I need to be? What do I need to do? And if I say, man, I'd like to, I think everybody should have a minimum annual income goal of no less than $250,000. No less than that, especially in the United States. Like if you have less than that, I'm just saying you should have no less than that as an objective. We can't get into what you're going to do or how you're going to do it, but there is a proverb that says this. Proverbs 14 and 23, I believe. It says, all work brings profit. Those who, if you just talk about it, that'll lead you to poverty. So you just can't talk about it. You actually got to do something. So before you do anything, if you go through these steps, then it's what do I want to have? We actually talked about that. Like that comes with the picture, your desire. Like how do you see what you want? So you got to have that first. And then I said, well, who do I need to be? Who do I need to be in the process so that can happen? That may be, maybe I might be in the wrong business. I may need to get in a different business. I may need to get in a different career, but you may not have to. And then from there, once that is discovered, then the path will illuminate before you. You will see exactly like, oh, I see where I can go. Wow, I see where I can go. That's awesome. So if we're going to use this power principle, this principle of practice, We don't want to practice doing the wrong things. What we want to practice is practice doing the thing that supports the ideas that I actually want. See, because look, at the end of the day, your life is precious. And we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do you account for your opportunities? How do you account for your time? How do you account for your health, relationships, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and your career? How do you account for the one life you have to live? That's why we're here. Go out there and account for your life today. Using this power principle of practice. Practice, 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 and keep on practicing. Guys, I appreciate you. I love you. I will see you guys on the next episode. God bless. Peace.
This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.